And we're on. How about that? Welcome to Ignite. I'm telling you, this is a full room, John.
There's a lot of people interested in paginated reports, it appears.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us. We're very excited to present this topic, best practices for using Microsoft Power BI and paginated reports. This is the first time we're doing this session.
It is.
So we've got some really good demos that we're going to show you. We're going to do a big hero demo at the beginning, and we're going to do a how did we do that kind of demo towards the end. So stick around for the end. It's going to be good reveals. It's going to be fun. But with that, there's a clicker. I'm going to use a clicker, John.
You should probably use
We should introduce you.
Sure. Hi, my name's John White. I'm the CTO of Tygraph. The company's actually called IllumitaViz, but we make Tygraph, which is analytical products for Microsoft 365. So if you want to know what's going on with your environment, you can use our products there. That's the end of my sales pitch. I am what's it called these days? Office Apps and Services MVP. I can never remember the name.
Yeah.
And a data platform MVP as well.
Indeed you are.
That is me in the picture doing what I like to do when I'm not doing this stuff. But it also explains my rather odd Twitter handle. My name's John White. Let's just say it wasn't available, so I had to come up with something creative. So feel free to reach out to me if you've got questions outside of the context of this. But you can fire away questions as we go as well.
Yes. We will ask you if you have a question, go up to one of the mics, and if we aren't able to take it right then, we'll do it at the end. But hi, my name is Jason Himmelstein. I'm technical director for a company called Rackspace, and I am also an Office Apps and Services MVP. I live in Texas. That is not Texas. I imagine there's probably some New Zealanders here that recognize that. I get to travel the world and help people with their technical problems, do a lot of solution design and stuff like that. So this was one of those opportunities I had. I got to go down to New Zealand, and it's really cool. So if you get an opportunity, I felt really huge when I was sitting in front of a hobbit hole. It's just kind of a neat picture. That's my particulars. Feel free to shoot me an email after this if you have any questions. I will direct them directly to John to make sure that you get all of the right answers. He's what we call the talent. We also do a podcast called Bifocal, bifocal.show. Feel free to go out there and subscribe to it. We had Arun Mehta, not Arun Mehta, different Arun. Arun Ulag on the show yesterday. That will get published later today or tomorrow. Arun is the GM of Power BI.
How many people know about our podcast already? I'm just curious. Okay, so now you know. No excuses.
Yes, so for the record, that was 872 people since this is recorded. All right.
For the recording.
Yeah, there's only 7 people in the room, but that's what we're going with. So here's our agenda for the day. Again, we're going to do a demo at the beginning, and then we're going to go into report types and then why paginated, because paginated is the focus of this particular session. Then we're going to talk about building paginated reports and then using them, and then we're going to wrap up along with one more demo. All right, so want to explain a little bit about the demo that you're about to see. The demo that you're about to see is what we refer to as more of a hero demo. Anybody ever watch Julia Child stuff? Yeah, we're going to do all of this, but look, the turkey's done in a half an hour show. We're going to show you what you can do. We're going to explain a little bit, but then we're going to deep dive into it a little bit more later. So what you're seeing on the screen right now is a Power BI report. This is Tygraph for Twitter, which John referred to earlier. John and I came up with this idea when Microsoft Flow first came out. We mine Twitter for some information. We go out there and grab hashtags and really like to drill in on it. So if you've been to either a SharePoint or a Power BI event in the past couple of years, you may have seen this. We publish this publicly, and so you can go out there, slice, dice it. You will find John has tweeted quite a bit about it. Great way to just see what the sentiment is going on around Power BI and some of the SharePoint stuff that we also engage in. But with that, John, do you want to go ahead and drill in and show a little bit about this?
Yeah, so what you're seeing on the screen is actually the public version of this that anybody can go see, link.tygraph.com/ignite tweets 19. That'll take you here, and it gets updated hourly because it's an anonymously published regular Power BI report. For the purposes of the demo, I've got a different version of this published over here in the Power BI service itself. So you can see it was updated last night at 11. That's the data set we're looking at, and you can see there's been a cumulative set of tweets come along, and it spiked yesterday, as you might expect, and the traffic, of course, spiked at the beginning of the keynote yesterday. But what this actually is, it's a Power BI report against a much wider data set. This is filtered right now down to Microsoft Ignite. But if you can see, if I pick this drop down, I've got a number of reports configured. And if I can, for example, just select my handle, so you can see all of the tweets that have referred to me at DiverDown1964 since, what is it, August, somewhere in there. So that's really what we're talking about here. Now, this is published out to a Power BI dedicated capacity data set, which means it's living in a dedicated capacity. And I'm connecting to that data set with a paginated report over here. So that's what this is. So this paginated report is connected to exactly that same data set, and you're seeing the exact same numbers up there on the screen. Now, if we pop back over here to this, you'll see a number of behaviors. For example, of course, you're Power BI users, I've got to assume, so you know that when you click on a particular data element, you're going to cross-filter the page, excuse me, to show the content relative to that item. If I come over here to a paginated report, you don't get that behavior, right? If I click on this data point, nothing happens, because this is designed for printing, right? Paginated reports, in essence, we're going to get into this more, are all about printing. So if you can see it's got numbers, a number of pages as, oh good, my session has expired.
How many people have ever had that happen in Power BI? Anybody? Just a few. All right.
This will take just a second to render because it's an awful lot of data all of a sudden. This is what I get for planning and getting everything.
We tested all these demos all morning to make sure that everything was working and didn't think to refresh the tokens. But alongside of this, John, what you were just showing, the paginated report is cross-filterable. When you click on an element, you interact with it, you can drill in. Paginated reports, we don't get that same behavior. It is meant to be printed, so whether it's on a screen, whether it goes into, we're good, into what you're about to show, which I believe is going to be printing to PDF, right?
Yeah, it will be. So what I was doing is changing pages. So you can see the report itself has multiple pages. If I come down here, we've got some tables that reflect top and lowest sentiment for the conference, things of that nature. As well, you can print, as you might expect. So printing is fairly straightforward. I mean, I can come up to the File menu and print. I think we've been able to do that for a little while now in most products, but we don't have a printer in the room. So what we can do instead is export to PDF. Now, PDF, of course, is going to be the closest thing to a printable report that we're going to find. So I just select that, and the export starts. It takes just a second.
But John, if you go back to it for just a second, if you go back to export, there were a bunch of other formats there as well.
Yeah.
So PDF gives you that lockdown format so that people can't make any changes, but occasionally you have a situation where you want somebody to be able to go and work with that data. So you may want to export it into an Excel format, or you want to be able to present that information, you want to be able to copy and paste something into a PowerPoint presentation using a reuse slides feature that now shows up in Office 365. So that's one of the things you can do with this.
So after I hit export to PDF, it just downloaded a PDF copy of the report. And you can see it's laid out fairly well for printing purposes. There's essentially the screen that we just saw. If I scroll down, there's these sentiment tables that start on the next page and go as far as they need to. And then we've got another table down below that's defined to break ahead of it, a paginated report. It's all about printing. All right. So if I come back to the main report itself, another thing I might want to be able to do is to be able to refer to that report directly somewhere else, provide someone a link, hey, you need to see this. And I can do that, again, by clicking on File, Generate Link. And what you'll notice is that this report has been filtered, or has, in addition to the link, it's got a report, a URL directive, RP configuration report equals Microsoft Ignite. What that is this parameter value. So we've defined a parameter for this paginated report, and a parameter kind of works like a filter does with PBIX files. And I could come in here, same as I did before, and pick diver down, and then render that and see that same report in the context of this. It's exactly the same structure, different data, right? And I can, if I wanted to change that value in the URL directive, I can do that, and I'll get that directly instead of having to go through, say, Microsoft Ignite to get to that diver down report. Now, I did the export to PDF. That's nice. It's a great capability. but I don't want to necessarily have to come to this report all of the time to get that export. I want it to come to me. Or better yet, I might want to have that report go to a number of people in my organization on a schedule. I can do that through the subscribe button. I'm coming down here, I hit the subscribe button, and you can see I've got one subscription set up already, so you can set up multiple. I'm just going to click Run Now, because that's going to take a second. We're going to come back to that. But I want to open up what my options are for the subscription. So this one's turned on. You can see I've selected the PDF format, so I get all of those same export format that I get from the export area. I can set what my parameter values are. You can see it's set to Microsoft Ignite right now, but I could have set up any of those other report definitions from before. And then who is going to be the recipient of this, of the email that is going to get sent out. I can customize the email itself. I can include a little snapshot of the image, of the first page of the image, in the email itself that's embedded to let someone know what it is before they open the, in this case, the PDF. And then I get to select my frequency. I can go down to hourly should I wish to do so. I've got daily selected. There's, of course, weekly and monthly. And when I have daily selected, I can pick which days and at which time. So I've currently set it to the subscription to 11:15 p.m. Why do I have the set to 11:15 p.m. here? Because I've got my refresh set, and you saw it a little bit before for this data set, to 11 p.m. So I've got a summary report being sent to me at the end of every day. Finally, we can also include a link to the content and give access to the report, which means if someone wants to come back to the Power BI service to have this thing rendered, they will get a link to do so. And if they don't have access to it, it will be granted automatically to them. So that's some fairly powerful features right there. Now, what should have happened by now while I've been yapping is it should have emailed me, there it is, a new email with my report attached, and there's that little preview image that I was talking about. I could go to the report, that takes me to the service, but if I just click on this, I open up a PDF file. All right, and that PDF file contains, it's exactly what you just saw before, it was only just rendered right now. But what might be interesting about this is a printed report, right? It's got all those paginated features, all of those wonderful things, but it may raise a question. What do I want to do? Why is this number the way it is? If I want to answer that question, I'm going to need an analytical report, and that's what we would think of traditionally as a Power BI report, a PBIX report. Well, what this has allowed us to do is I can click on Analyze, and it's going to open up the corresponding PBIX file, or PBIX report that goes against that data set, the one I had opened up before. And it's going to be filtered to what I just had. So if I had sent this out for diver down, this would automatically be filtered to diver down. And just to show, it kind of goes both directions. If I come over here and I change my report filters and I pick diver down, and then I just hit the print button on this report, same thing, right? I'm analyzing my report. I want to get the print version of it. Finally, when I get it the way I want, I hit the print button, and it's going to open up my paginated report, already pre-filtered to the way we want. So this comes straight to the diver down Twitter report, although that report was saved with the Microsoft Ignite default parameter. Everybody with me? Cool.
That's pretty neat, huh? Now, John, how much of that was directly out of the box functionality?
So that last bit wasn't.
Ah, okay. So when you clicked print in the analytical report, you had to do some pre-work there in order to make it work, and you had to do something to make that button work as well, right?
Yeah, we're taking advantage of what I was talking about before with the URL directives in Paginated Reports and passing in a value from the PBIX file. It's a calculated measure, actually. And in the other direction, we're passing the report parameter into the PBIX through a URL, a filter parameter, when we call that PBIX file.
Man, that sounds, we only have 30 more minutes. Okay. That sounds really complicated.
Yeah.
Is there some way that people can find out information about this at some point?
It hasn't happened yet, but I've got a blog coming on, walking through exactly how that's done. I was hoping to have it done before this, but I didn't. So anyway. So one of the things you used to be able to do with SharePoint is embed SSRS, paginated, right? SSRS reports in SharePoint pages. You can do that here as well. The way you do that, essentially, is you come up to File and you choose the Embed option. Now, for Power BI users, Power BI PBIX users, you've had this secure embed feature show up for the last 6 months or so. It's available for Paginated Reports. I'm just going to go ahead and hit Copy, Close, and I'm going to come up here to SharePoint. Now, before I go ahead and do my embed, I wanted to show you something else. I had that report emailed to me through that subscription, right? Now, what I have here is a SharePoint library, and you can see there's a new file in there. It landed 4 minutes ago, which is when that report fired off. So I've also got a flow, a Power Automate. No, it's a flow in Power Automate.
Correct.
Right? Yes, okay. I got to get that terminology right. That's looking in that inbox, and it's taking anything with that subject and putting it in a SharePoint document library. So you can see I can open it right from that document library. Here's the file itself. Here's the PDF here. And if you wanted to look at, remember that number, 68,104. That's how many were as of last night. And if I open this one up from a couple of days ago, you can see it's 28,000. So we've had a significant increase in the past couple of days. But what we have is an edition of this report that's saved at about 11:20 every single night. And we'll get into that a little bit more about that at the end. But finally, I want to come back up here to Home. So here's my SharePoint homepage, and you can see it's actually giving me a preview of a number of these files. And I'm going to edit this guy. And if I can get my mouse points right,
A little bit left.
There it is.
Go.
I'm going to add a new embed web part. And I'm just going to paste in that embed code that I copied just a few minutes ago. And I'm going to go ahead and republish the page. And I now have a new paginated, read SSRS style report running in a SharePoint online page, and it's interactive. So I can actually select multiple of these parameters and render that file out. I think that's what I have for them today.
All right, well, that was a lot. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and it gave you a little bit of a preview into what you can do with some of this stuff. Now, we have to be very transparent. This is not in the free. It's not in Pro. It is a premium feature, okay? This does require premium.
Dedicated capacity.
You're going to have to explain what the differences are here in a little bit, but we'll come back to that. So it is something that costs money in order to do beyond just the $10 per user per month license, and John will explain a little bit later.
Cool. So to get into a little bit further, I want to explain some of what you just saw. Talk a little bit about report types. I kept referring to paginated reports, and they're good at printing, and they are. They're designed for that purpose. There are really two types of reports in this world: operational reports and analytical reports. Operational reports are the ones we're probably mostly familiar with, and analytical reports are that self-service BI sort of capability. They're designed for different things. Do you know the question you have already, or do you want to look at the data and say, I wonder why that is? That's kind of the difference. Operational reports lend themselves to automation a lot better. Analytical reports are lousy at being printed, right? One is not replacing the other. There is no answer to which one is best. The question is, what is it you're trying to do? So there are very big differences. And the nice thing is the Power BI service now supports both types of reports. Drilling down a little bit from a product standpoint, certainly from a Microsoft standpoint, the reason these operational reports are a little more familiar to us is they've been around a lot longer, right? SSRS, up until very recently, well, even now, SSRS proper, only does RDL-style reports, okay? These are, your green bar reports, the ones that are designed to be printed. I keep saying it, and I will keep saying it. But there's a few differences between the two. One of the big differences is RDL reports don't include a cached data set, and PBIX reports often do, all right? PBIX reports don't have to, but they often do, and certainly the way most people work with it, that's certainly the case. From a platform standpoint, this is a talk about Power BI in the service, right, and paginated reports in the service, but this is how it all stacks up. You can take an RDL file from on-premises and upload it into Power BI, and as long as you're not using any unsupported features, it's going to work, all right? So our RDLs run on SSRS, Power BI report server on-prem, or in the Power BI service. PBIX files, what we would call traditionally Power BI reports. I don't like that term, but that's what we tend to call them. Will run on Power BI Report Server, which is a superset of SSRS, and Power BI in the service. Make sense? Hope so. Good. All right, so Jace, why would we ever want to use a paginated report?
Well, there are a couple of different reasons why, personally, I like paginated reports. PBIX format prints, but it's mostly images. It's not very intuitive. It just prints what's on the screen, and as we know, the pages that happen in a PBIX file show up at the bottom. You just get the one page. You can't actually specify where page breaks happen or anything of that nature. So it's just a visual in a PDF, right? So printing doesn't just mean paper, folks. Like that's not reality. Our printing, we need it in multiple formats. And I hit on it a little bit earlier. I want to be able to take that data and not only print it, but export it and be able to work with that data to be able to analyze it in different ways, because not everybody works inside of Power BI all the time. Okay? There are going to be times where you want to take some of that data and put it into a PowerPoint, right? You're going to want to be able to show that to an executive and be able to draw them back to the Power BI report, but sometimes you need that in a different way. And lastly, the page is it's page-aware visuals. So like John showed you, we can specify a page break when we have too much data showing up. We don't want to have things lay out ugly. We want to have certain things lay out at the top of a page. That's what we can do with a printed style report. The next one up here is subscriptions, and John showed you a little bit about this. You can subscribe yourself or others or groups, okay? These are going to be groups in Office 365 because the subscriptions only work to go to people internal. Okay, that is a big important thing. This is not something that you can subscribe external people to, because it is having to give that, that capability to grant access. So it's really nice. We don't have to go do that as well. By specifying that they are getting the subscription, they get access to those files or to that data. We can set an output format in those subscriptions, as you saw, PDF, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, et cetera, and lots more potential coming in those formats as well. We can define the subject and the body of the email message, which means that we can use Power Automate to have a flow go off and look for specific things in our inbox, take those and move them where we want them. If we want them into a SharePoint document library for some reason.
This deck was due before the new name.
Yeah, so that's the way we can do it.
It's true.
We can define frequency, and you saw John was able to do it down to the hour. Why is that? Because it is in a premium, you have to be in a premium workspace in order to do this, which means up to 48 times a day, which means that we can do that, particular style. And this does leverage Microsoft Flow to deliver reports to SharePoint document libraries. I already said that one, so I'm not going to read the slide.
Hit it.
All right. This one was you, I think? Okay. I'm sorry? Can you trigger subscription push-outs on events is the question.
We're going to answer that question just a little bit. And the answer is no, but there's another way to do exactly what I think you want. So and if we don't answer it at the end, please let us know. Another thing that Paginated Reports can do is connect to multiple Power BI data sets. So I mentioned before that Power BI typically contains the data set, the cached data, the report itself, and a query, and you deploy that out to the service. You can connect to a PBIX file to that published data set, but you can only connect to one of them. Paginated Reports can connect to any number of them, as well as other external data sources. And Paginated Reports also contain a very, very powerful, very mature expression-based language. It's probably the best feature of SSRS. Just about anything, any design element can be driven by data. And that's something that we're starting to see come into the Power BI itself, into the Power BI desktop, with conditional formatting, et cetera, but isn't really there yet. So those are a couple more reasons as well. All right. So just talking about building paginated reports here. What are some of the tools that you would use to build paginated reports? The first one on the left is, now it's called Microsoft Report Builder, not to have any confusion. We've got some naming confusion here coming up, quite a bit of it. Microsoft Report Builder, and that's what you use to build RDL files for SSRS, SQL Server Reporting Services, or for Power BI Report Builder. So if you're on-prem only, you're going to use that. If you're building paginated reports in the Power BI service, you're going to want to use Power BI Report Builder. If that's not the most confusing name I've ever heard, I'd be surprised, because you don't use it to build Power BI reports. You use it to build paginated reports, and we think of Power BI reports as PBIX files. There's a reason it's named that way, and we're not going to get into it. But that's the tool you're going to use, and it's essentially a version of that Microsoft Report Builder, the old SQL Server Reporting Services Report Builder, that's been optimized for the capabilities of RDL in the Power BI service.
It looks really, really similar.
We're
going to show you why. There's some patterns, and that's where the best practices of this session come in, around things you want to avoid that you really want to do because you have that paginated report. You've been building RDLs for so long that you want to go off it, but I want to click that button, John. We're going to cover that.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that. And the other tool you're going to want to use with paginated reports, not for building Power BI reports, but for building Power BI data sets, is, of course, Power BI Desktop, because that's the tool you're going to use to do the querying and the data modeling. And if you want to collect to Power BI data models, that's the tool you're going to use. So that's why that's up here on the screen. I hope that makes some sense. If you look at the differences between Microsoft Report Builder and Power BI Report Builder, it's essentially, there's a lot fewer options in Microsoft or in Power BI Report Builder because it supports the features that are available in the service. Now, you can connect to these Power BI data sets with this tool, which you cannot do with that native Microsoft Report Builder. At least you can't as of the last time I checked anyway. And you can see the number of data sets. That's just a little screen grab at the bottom there. Report Builder doesn't support as many different data sets as the Microsoft Report Builder does. So I want to walk through the process of building now a PBIX report, classic Power BI report, an interactive report. Typically, when you're building one of these reports, you're using Power BI Desktop to reach out to different data sources, and you're building up this data model. Or within Power BI, it's called a data set. And I'm trying to adjust my vocabulary to always use the word data set. We're going to see why that's confusing here in a minute. When you're ready, you deploy that report out to the Power BI service, and it essentially gets separated into three things. You get the report part of that, you get the data model or the data set part of that, and the query is still there for refresh purposes. Users then interact with the report, and that report queries from that embedded data that's sitting in the Power BI service. You don't typically go back to the back-end data sources. You can if you're using direct query. That's what direct query is all about. Now, if you're going to use Power BI Report Builder to build a report, you're connecting to different data sources, but you're not building a data model. You're querying them live. Every time you render that report, you're querying those data sources live. The really cool part about this is, and you saw it, you can also query these already deployed data sets in the Power BI services, because that's really analysis services. Right? It's just an interface to analysis services. So when you deploy that report, the query and the report gets embedded, users can interact with that, and it can work against that data model. But also, if that report has additional data sources defined, it could connect directly to cloud data, or it can connect to on-premises data through the on-premises data gateway. Everybody with me? Oh, all right, good. We haven't lost anybody yet. We normally don't. What this leads us to is the fact that you can now have the best of both worlds, right? I talked about interactive is good at one thing and paginated is good at another thing. We don't have to build up all of our assets twice depending on our use cases if we have both use cases for a data set. So what you want to do is you want to build up data models, deploy them out to the service, and then connect your PBIX to it or connect your paginated reports to it. And you can basically have everything, which is kind of what I was trying to show you in that demo. And Power BI Report Builder can, as mentioned, connect to multiple data models at the same time, as well as other external data sources. I hope that makes sense. So let's get into terminology. Now, I know there's at least one person from Microsoft in the room, so I can't rag on them too bad, can I?
Sure. That's our hobby, John. Don't take away our fun.
Microsoft has a problem with naming things. I don't know if you were aware of this. It's been my experience anyway. So it's becoming a problem in this world because we've had a concept of a data set in SSRS for a very long time. And in both SSRS and Power BI Report Builder, that's on premises, and a data set is an externalized query, essentially. So you have these external data sources and external data sets that exist on premises. That does not exist in Power BI. We have a different thing that's called a data set. So they're called the same thing, but we have to be very aware of this because when we work with the tools, it's not too intuitive about which one you're using. So a data set with a paginated report can be embedded in the report or it can be externalized as you see on the screen. If you're working in the service, a data set can only be internal to the RDL file. So again, it's that saved query. So that's a distinction we want to make. I don't expect you to get it at the same time, but there are two different things. If you're working on-prem or you're working in the service, they're two very different things. And you cannot migrate data sets from one to the other. You need to make them embedded. If you want to move RDL files from on-premises to the Power BI service, you need to first embed that data set in the report. And there are some tools we'll talk about in a minute for doing that. Finally, if you're using Power BI Report Builder, is it finally? I'm not sure. Not quite finally.
Not quite.
If you're using Power BI Report Builder, you have to be aware of its legacy in SSRS. So an awful lot of things are built for these classic style connections. And if you're going to connect to a Power BI data set, you don't want to use the connection builder. Don't use the wizard. Dismiss it. There is another way to do it, and Jason's going to get here in just a minute. It's going to involve building a query through a query designer or by copying and pasting DAX, and we'll get into that a little bit more. I think we'll get into the detail during your demo.
Yeah, I think we'll. But the key there is there's this thing called the magic button.
Yep, be aware.
It's really important, and I'm going to demo it for you here in just a little bit.
Well, we call it the magic button. Chris calls it the magic button. Anyway. Hey. When you're working with these RDL files, you've got a choice to make when you're saving the file. So you're working with Power BI Report Builder, you can save the file locally, and when you're done with it, you can upload it into the service, or you can work with it directly within a workspace in Power BI. And there's advantages and disadvantages to doing both. If you're saving it directly into Power BI, all of your changes are reflected immediately. You don't have to worry about multiple steps to get things going. But you don't have any kind of version control. If you're working locally, you can be saving off to OneDrive and take advantage of the version control that provides you. So it's just something you need to think about. And with that, Jason's going to show you a little bit about how to build out a paginated report.
All right, and we are up on the screen now. Everybody can see. So this is the Power BI service. I just want to show you that where we are. We have the Power BI Report Builder. That is the icon for it. I also have it sitting right here. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. This does take just a second to open. Bing, there we go. Now, John showed you that there's a wizard here. You don't want to use this wizard. You want to close it. In fact, you want to click on this button and to not show this at startup.
If you're connecting to a Power BI data set.
Correct. If you're doing this for Power BI, connected data sets, just recommend it. Now, what I want to do here is I'm going to go ahead and connect to a data source. And right here, I'm going to click on it, right-click, and it wants to work. There we go. And add a Power BI dataset connection. Now, this is going to show me all of the Power BI workspaces in my tenancy. And I'm going to use this one. You'll notice the diamond. That means it's expensive, is the workspace that I'm going to use. And I'm going to go ahead and choose the one that's been promoted because that was just easier. So it's always at the top for us. So I'm going to use the promoted one here. And now I have that as my data source. Now I want to go connect and do a data set connection.
So what he just did was he created a Power BI data set as a data source, and now he's going to create a data set in Power BI Report. See?
Terminology, it matters. So, and order of operations really matters here because if you start by trying to do a data set, you're not going to have anything to connect to. So I'm going to add a data set now. And the thing I want to do to start with is I'm going to name this. This is going to be Ignite Report Demo. And I'm going to come in here and specify the data source. I only have one, so that's perfect. Now, John, I want to click on the FX button so bad.
I know. That's because you're old like me.
I know. This button right here, anybody ever click that button? You're used to don't click the button, okay? Don't click the button.
It's for classic data sources.
Classic data sources. Query Designer. That's what we want to do. I really want a macro that when I go to click that, it just jumps down and clicks the other button for me, but that's okay.
But you might have a classic data source.
I might have a classic data source, but I don't anymore. Everything's in the cloud. So now, when I click on this, it does take just a minute to go off and load and pull everything in. Perfect, there we go. So now I know exactly what I want to go build.
That looks an awful lot like the connection to SSRS, doesn't it? Because it is.
So I'm going to go in and I'm going to grab all the right data that I want to be able to see in my report. I'm going to take tweets, I'm going to take sentiment, I'm going to jump down here, and I'm going to go pull in search terms, and it pulls everything in for me very nicely. Now, I want to go ahead and click on execute the query because I want to see if that actually worked. Crossing fingers, demo gods, please work.
Did you click it? Oh,
there we go. All right, so demo gods are with us today. All right, so now I want to be able to do some filtering on this as well. So I need to come in here to configuration, and I'm going to pull in report as my dimension that I'm going to filter on. And now I do need to scroll a little bit. It's hidden right now. I need to scroll this way, and I need to click this button because I want to be able to pull in multiple parameters. If you don't want to pull in multiple parameters, you don't need to care about this. I do, so I'm going to click on that. I'm going to choose a filter expression, and I'm going to choose all.
So
Okay. I could drill in and go pick which ones I want specifically, but I want to be able to filter on all of them, so I'm going to do that and say OK. At this point, I'm going to click to execute the query again just to make sure that it worked. And there we go. So we're still working. Now, because I want to choose multiple parameters, I have to click this thing that we refer to as the magic button. It doesn't say that on the hover over screen because Microsoft is no fun. What it says is enable multi-value parameters because that's what it does. I like magic button better. Anybody with me? Magic button? All right, Microsoft should rename that. I'm going to go ahead and click that. That's all I have to do.
It may be enabled by default in the future.
It may be enabled by default, as it well should, but that's okay. Now, I am a WYSIWYG guy. I like to drag and drop. Even though I did PowerShell sessions yesterday, I know, and everything like that, I still, when it comes to building reports, I want it quick, I want it easy, I just want to be able to get there. If I was someone who wanted pain and suffering in my life, then I could roll my own DAX for these things. Now, if you're trying to do the multi-value select, don't roll your own DAX. It is horribly painful. Just don't. This is what the DAX looks like behind the scenes. All I did was click on this little guy right here, which is design mode, but it shows me the DAX, which is really nice. So I have that. I can save that off, do whatever I want with it. Now, I'm going to go back. I'm good to go. I'm going to click OK. Now, I have to keep my hands off the keyboard for just a minute because what's going to happen is it's going to take just a second. It looks like it's done, but it's not done. Until in that box I see the DAX query, it's not finished. So I'm just going to stand here and let John talk.
Well, I wanted to jump in. That DAX that Jason was rolling by hand, you can actually go and get it from different places. If you have a visual, say, in Power PBIX, you could go into the performance analyzer and get the DAX that it's generating, copy it, and paste it into that window. You can do it through DAX Studio as well. That's another place to go and get DAX. So you don't necessarily have to write it yourself, but if you have some, you can drop it in there, and that's how you do it.
All right, I'm going to speed up just a little bit because I'm running low on time. Now,
yeah, we are.
What happened here is I chose to add a parameter. It did that for me. It's just a little hidden. I just have to hit the plus button. There it is. It says configuration report. You don't change the name of this. You think you want to, and we all want to, but it's going to rewrite over top of it anyway, so don't bother. Just let it have its funky naming. But what I want to do is I want to double-click on it, and I want to go in and I want to specify some default values to show up in my report, okay? And I don't want to allow blanks because I hate nulls and blanks. So I'm going to go ahead and specify some values here, and I'm going to choose Microsoft Ignite as 1. And if I want to have multiple values here, I just have to hit add a second one, and I'll say diver down, and then I will do one that has multiples, and I'll say all valo tweets. Now, I'm going to click OK, and I'm ready to go. John, I want to click Run Report, but before I do that,
you're going to get a blank screen.
Yeah, I don't have anything in there to do anything with, so I need to actually insert a table. I could just drag over the elements, but it's not going to lay it out cleanly for me. The WYSIWYG way of doing this is go in to Insert, click on Table, Table Wizard, and this is almost as good as my favorite click, finish. I have a couple of things I have to click in addition, but I'm just going to choose the report information, choose the data, drag it into values, click Next, shows me my table, click Next, click Finish. Now, I do want to add a title to this, so I'm going to call this Jason's Awesome Demo Report. And I'm going to save that off, and I'm going to go run it, and let's see what we get. Do we have anything? Crossing fingers.
I like your odds.
I do too. All right, we have data. Yay! So now I have a report. It's not a hugely pretty report because I only had like 4 minutes. But what I can do is I can go back in and I can see this was filtered by default, right? If I want to go in and say, you know what, I want to go just see one specific thing like Microsoft Ignite, I can click on it, click View Report. It's going to just give me that one piece of data. Everybody with me? Now, to save this off, John showed a slide earlier. I can save this locally, or I can do the right thing and actually save it into the service. So I'm going to save it into the service because I like to do the right thing. Click Save, File, Save As, go to Power BI Service. Now, at this point, I do have to save this into one of these premium capacity workspaces, the one with the diamonds. So I'm going to choose this one, and I'm going to paste in the report name, click on Save, and then it's going to look like nothing happened because there's nothing there. It didn't take me, it didn't give me a little pop-up like Power BI Desktop does. Do you want to go to your report? It doesn't do that. But if I come back over here, you will notice I only had 3 before, now I have 4. And there's Jason's awesome demo report. When I click on it, it's going to take me in, and it's going to show me not the last saved version like Power BI Desktop does, but instead showing me what I set for the default. So that's an important parameter that you need to understand when you go to do this. And I am now done.
5, please. Thank you, sir.
Whew.
So just to reiterate, some of the elements you saw in the demo at the beginning, some of the ways you can use it. You saw the way to specify a report parameter value. There are some other controls you can use at the top. You can collapse and hide that whole parameter value. So if you wanted to explicitly not allow people to make changes, you'll be able to do that. You actually can't do it today. There's a bug in the service that's going to be fixed in the next week or 2. So that's the case. If you want to directly export one of your formats, you can do that just through a URL to provide a PDF. And as you saw, there are ways to pass those parameters back and forth between reports. We've talked about subscriptions sufficiently. I don't know that we need to cover it off in any more detail. I think those concepts have been covered off. I do want to just highlight embedding. With SSRS, you had a web part to embed into SharePoint. In this case, you're just embedding essentially a URL link. You're using an iframe to embed that. There's some trickery with that embed option to do some single sign-on, but it's essentially that as opposed to a specific web part for the purpose. And also, you can just generate a link if you're not worried about any of that stuff. You just want to hand a link to somebody, you can do that as you saw before. All right, so to wrap up, I expect you to memorize everything on there. There are a number of tools you're going to use to work with these reports. We saw Power BI Report Builder. I talked about Power BI Desktop for building models. The on-premises data gateway is something you're going to need if your data sources are on-premises. There is a tool that's out there in GitHub called the RDL migration tool. If you've got on-premises RDL files and you need to migrate them up to this, you can use this tool, and it'll take things like external data sets and embed them in reports so that it will be compatible with the service. And I mentioned it already, DAX Studio is a great tool for analyzing DAX. So if you want to really optimize things, you can use that. There are some upcoming enhancements coming to Paginated Reports. This comes from the product team directly. The first one, an important one, but there's no announcements to make, is they are working on getting the price point down. Like Jason said, we're expensive. We run in dedicated capacity today. We're hoping to have some kind of relief of that. We don't know what that looks like yet. They're bringing more features to align up with SSRS so more people can migrate their on-premises reports, things like sub-reports and RDL to RDL drill-through, although I would argue interactive reports are a better way to tackle that particular problem. Going to be enhancements to DAX. I wouldn't call Jason's experience there of using the DAX editor all that friendly. So we're hoping to see some stuff there. Well, I'm hoping to see some stuff there, and it's on the slide, so It must be coming. They're going to make the tool easier. What you saw, I mean, it's got rough edges around it. It's an old tool that's been being retrofitted for a new service. So there are some big usability improvements coming here. Of course, the service is getting reliability and scalability improvements. And there's going to be an API for rendering. So that answers the question I had earlier about can we push that subscription? Well, what we're going to be able to do is push a render of a report. So in something like a Logic app or a Flow, we'll be able to say, hey, and this is what I did previously. That's why you saw all those reports running at about 11:20 at night. I've got a logic app that goes out and starts up our dedicated capacity. It's an A4. It's not premium, it's an A4. It's an Azure SKU that you build hourly. It fires it up. It then goes off and refreshes that data set, that subscription runs, and then later on the capacity gets shut down. Well, you'll be able to do that in a single logic app with that API for report rendering. Right now we have to rely on subscriptions. As a takeaway, you want to hit the first,
sure.
left two? I'll
yeah.
take the right
All
two.
right. So
we're done.
We're right at time here.
Yeah.
So PBIX is not replacing RDL, folks. That rumor that was floating around there, it's not replacing. In fact, this is a better together story, as hopefully you saw with the hero demo that John did. It really is, and I work with a lot of customers that are looking at doing these things. I want to get into the cloud for RDL. How do I do that? What do I do? Well, Paginated Reports in the service is a real thing. It is terrific. Hopefully you saw some of that. But the functionality of being able to now call to a published PBIX reports data set as a data source is absolutely fantastic. And that way we have two different ways that we're dealing with data, because you have two different types of people that are looking at the data oftentimes, but it's the same data. So now you have an authoritative data source that you can call to and have both sets of people working from that same data source.
Yep. And another point is the paginated reports in the service are not the same thing as SSRS. It's not lift and shift. There's an awful lot of overlap. So it's got the things that are relevant to the cloud are what you're going to find in that service.
So the next one is reporting against a Power BI data set whenever possible. It's fantastic to be able to do that. Highly recommend it. Get into Power BI, start to do these things, because you can do all that transform stuff really nicely in Power BI and then be able to use Paginated Reports to be able to report on it.
And at the end, if you take one thing away from this, start trying to build out data models. And if you need Paginated Reports, use Paginated Report Builder, Power BI Report Builder. And if you need interactive reports, use Power BI Desktop, but connect to that same data model.
So lastly, some more information. All of the decks are going to be downloadable, but go and check these out. Unfortunately, Tuesday at 9:15 is
already
over, but definitely go watch that, because all of these are going to be able to be viewed later on. Highly recommend that session. That was Christian Wade and Adam Saxton this morning. We're doing a Power BI Unconference tomorrow. I don't know if there's any more space available. Check it out at the Unconference space. And then Power BI Flow and Power Apps connecting to use data on-premise in the on-premises data gateway on Thursday as well. Thank you guys,
Thank you guys.
And ladies, very much for coming and joining us.